Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. Today I will introduce you to Kurdish culture. You may have heard about the Kurdish troop Daesh and what happened in the Middle East since 2014, and more specifically since like 2 months ago when the Turks invaded a region called Afrin in Syria with German tanks, which is a scandal in Germany right now. So I will start briefly with the history of the Kurds. The Kurds are a population of people that are actually living since like 500 before Christians. They have one of the oldest religions on earth called Zoroastrianism, and the first time we had people or books would talk about it was like 600 before Christians, so it's very old. They have like 4,880 days more in their calendar than the Christians, and 990 days more than the Jewish calendar. So you see it's a very old community. The language of the Kurds is very different from one to another because we don't have one single language. We have like different dialects through the whole country or the whole territory, as it is not a country yet. The majority speak Kurmanji, then you have Sorani, which is very different from another because the whole alphabet is different, as Sorani tends to have the Arabic alphabet and Kurmanji the normal alphabet, the regular one. The religions are also very different from one to another because there is no predominant one. Most people have been Arabized or Islamized, but actually you have lots of Jewish people, you have Christian people, you have Sunni people, you have like people from all over the world and all over the beliefs. And the big problems with our country that we faced through the history were 3 treaties. 2 of them gave us a little bit hope of a little space. That was the Treaty of Sykes-Picot and the Treaty of Sèvres. But every hope was crushed down then in the Treaty of Lausanne in 1923 in Lausanne, when they decided that the Ottoman Empire would not allow the Kurds to have like a space for them to live in security with their own beliefs, with their own culture, and everything that comes with it. So here a little map, just to show you how many Kurds are in 4 different countries and what are the problems. You see that all the songs represent 1 million people, and they are divided in the 4 countries that are Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran. This is all because of the Treaty of Lausanne. So you see that it's a little bit of a colonization, and every Kurdish people in every culture, every country has now become different from others because they had to get assimilated by the country they were put in. Like the Turks, the Kurdish Turks don't live the same way as the Iranian Kurds. This is a big problem today. As you can see, they have lots of people there. So, now the conflicts through history until now. I'd like to talk to you about Saddam Hussein, who was the first time in history where the Kurds were qualified as victims of a genocide. In 1988, he gassed people in Halabja. Over 5,000 people died. And this was with the help of a Hollandish businessman called Ban Arad, who got there was a, how can I say, you know the Tribunal of La Haye in Holland. Sorry? Exactly. He was brought there to justice. He was sentenced to 15 years prison because he gave the necessary chemicals to Saddam Hussein to create the gas for the Kurds. But they couldn't accuse him of genocide because they believed that he didn't know what these chemicals were for. Didn't know, yeah. So then, for the Turkish side, The Kurds have problems with the Turks since the beginning of the Turkish Empire, not the Ottoman Empire, but since 1923. Atatürk, the previous president, kind of promised a land or a small territory to the Kurds. And then through time, he didn't see the use for it. He wanted to Turkize everyone over there, even the Armenians, who were then genocide as well, because they wouldn't live through his rules, religion, or way of life. And more specifically, today, it's worse than ever, because Erdogan, I think you all may know him, the actual president of Turkey, who wants to reintroduce the Sharia law, sees all the Kurds as terrorists. Every excuse for him is acceptable to bomb people and civilians in areas where there is no army or no way to defend yourself. You will always find farmers there, women, small children, and he will attack them with German tanks or flights of the NATO. And now Daesh, since 2014, is also a huge issue for us, because we were the only ones at the beginning of this issue to put every tool in every person above 15, 16, every woman and man who wanted to take part in a conflict against them was sent to the front. And until today, we don't have the international support. Lots of people, lots of countries claim to help us, like the USA, like sometimes Russia, sometimes Germany, but it's only in their own interest. When it doesn't work for them anymore, they stop helping us. And this is not acceptable. Because as Sharp said, Sharp, the journalist who was killed in France by a frog, who was working at Charlie Hebdo, I think you all have heard about him. He actually said in 2014 that the Kurds are the humanity that resists the shadows, that defend their lives, their families, and their land. Whether they want it or not, they represent the only bulwark against Daesh and the ultimate barbarian gangsterism. So if a journalist in this time already acknowledged how important the Kurds are in the fight against Daesh, how does it come that the others don't feel concerned? There are threats to all of us, and not only people over there. You know how many people, how many journalists they killed, from Britain, from Germany, from France. How does it come that Europe doesn't do more and put their forces together against them? Then briefly, I will introduce you the differences between each other. So, as I already told you, the languages are very different. In Turkey, I don't think I have to go deeper in that topic, as you might know that it's very short for them. So, in Syria, most people live in Damascus, Aleppo, Kobani, and Afrin, and since 1960s, more than 300,000 people were denied citizenship. I don't think I have to go more into details, as this was in 1960, and as we know, it never gets better, so you can imagine how it is today for them. In Iran, there was a small hope in 1946, when Qazi Mohammed managed to create a Kurdish state with the help of the Soviet Union, but it only lasted a year because the Iranian regime crushed everything a year later. In Iraq, it's actually the best place to be for Kurds right now, as there is a semi-autonomous region. Governed by the Barzanis, who more or less work like a federal state and do their best to get on the international scene with democratic ideas. And now with all of this, I'd like to ask you why you believe that Kurds have not been victimized as an official genocide yet, because to have a genocide we have to have 3 rules, like there has to be more than 1 million deaf people, a clear intention to destroy a targeted group like it was the case with the Jewish people from Germany during the Nazi time or in Rwanda, and an ethnic or religious group has to be a target. We now are clearly concerned by all these 3 points, and still today we have no recognition for that. I have no answer for this question because I myself don't understand why the general community will not give us a little bit of credibility for what we went through.